Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wild. Today we are talking about, I don't know how I fell for this, how scammers target vulnerable gig workers and why it may never end. So turns out gig scams are on the rise again, and because of that, even MarketWatch got involved and had to say something. I'm not sure what the scam they're referring to is yet. I'm interested to figure that out because I care a lot about the safety of gig workers and making sure that you're not getting scammed by silly people. I have more colorful words, but I don't want to get demonetized. So with that said, I want to go over what this article is saying, how it actually is, and everything in between. So with that said, let's get started. Jimmy Kwach have been working part-time as an UberEats delivery driver in Albuquerque, New Mexico for 2 months when he was scammed out of his earnings. Okay, I know that Albuquerque is a real place, but why is the first thing I think of the Bugs Bunny cartoons where they're always looking to get someplace that's just past Albuquerque? After a customer canceled a Taco Bell order, he received a phone call from a person claiming to be Uber support. The person asked him to log out of his account and send a photo of himself for verification purposes, and type in a bank account number as a payment method in the UberEats app. Guys, you can't fall for that. First of all, Uber Sport's never gonna reach out to you to ask you to log out, send you a photo? That doesn't even make sense. And type in a bank account number as a payment method. That's never gonna happen. Did you honestly expect that was actually Uber Sport? Like, come on. Kwach followed the instructions and lost $337.36 in his account. That was in April. When he asked Uber for his money back, the giant ride-hailing company said no. First off, it is not the company's responsibility to cover you when you get scammed. Of all the things that the company won't do, the company will not just give money. We determined that there was no evidence to suggest that your account was compromised. A representative from Uber's Greenlight account security and risk team told him in an online chat, a screenshot of which was seen by MarketWatch. That's probably why that guy wanted that kind of information. It looked like the account wasn't compromised. That sucks though. I'm sorry to hear that. But after MarketWatch contacted Uber in June to ask about the incident, Kwach received a message from a different representative who said she was from Uber's priority support. Okay, so the first person was effectively useless. A big company like MarketWatch came over and tried to hold him accountable, and they were like, oh, I am so sorry. Looks like there is a problem here, and you did get scammed. Oh my gosh. It's amazing what happens when a big old company like MarketWatch gets involved. Why is it that we have to resort to this in order to just get something back that was stolen from us because of your failure to protect our accounts? Like, come on. I understand someone illegitimately accessed your account, she said. The representative apologized for the length of time it took to receive your stolen earnings, and Kwach got his money back. Again, why does it take MarketWatch to get you to do your job? Like, come on. I actually want to figure it out. Like, did they actually reach out to MarketWatch specifically, or did they reach out to a different company? What happened to this driver is frustrating and appears to be a result of a scam by a third-party bad actor, an Uber spokeswoman told MarketWatch. You don't say. Getting scammed made Kwach wary of doing deliveries for a bit, but he said since he had tried again when he has free time while going to trade school to be an electrician. I just want to make sure that fellow drivers are aware of the type of scams that can be done by people who claim to be good, he said. I totally understand that entirely, Jimmy, and thank you for reaching out to MarketWatch so they can write an article that I can make content for. Kwach and some other app-based delivery workers for companies like Uber Technologies Inc., DoorDash Inc., Instacart, and Just Eat Takeaways, Grubhub have something in common. They have found that the systems the company put in place don't necessarily keep their earnings safe from bad actors. And while some have been able to get their hard-earned cash back, many of them have lost money, reflecting the fragility of their positions as part of the gig economy. And that's why I say the gig economy is an income bridge to what would be a long-term goal. It's never the goal. You really don't want to depend on these companies forever. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. If you build something on the side where your income is independent from your activity specifically, you can end up making a lot more than any of these gig apps can provide. That may be why I've started YouTube, but that's not the point. Drivers for the big gig companies are considered independent contractors and receive neither direct supervisors nor training, making it tough for them to navigate dealing with customers as well as the platforms. Different third-party partners, from restaurants to grocery stores to the companies that issue debit cards in which their earnings are deposited. With a lack of institutional protections, these workers are often in a vulnerable spot, making them a target of phishing scams, imposter scams, or at least in one case, a scam that may have been perpetrated by a member of their own household. The problem with what he's saying, that's kind of what the major benefits are for being a gig worker. You don't have a boss, you're working on your own terms. And that's what makes some of these gig companies so good. I do believe there's a point to be made that people need to be more aware of these scams, and protecting yourself is a major thing. This is why you subscribe to channels like mine and all the other members of the Gigtube community. A lot of the things that the companies are going to do and a lot of things that happen within the gig community, it is vital that you are informed of what's going on and things that are happening. So being subscribed to channels that are going to keep you aware of what's going on is going to be a big deal. And I'm not necessarily just saying mine either. You may not resonate with me the same way you'd resonate with Pedro DoorDash Santiago, More Finance, UDM, etc. The Gigtube podcast actually made a directory of all the Gigtubers that are in the community. I'll leave that in the description. Find a Gigtuber that you want to be subscribed to and be a part of that channel, be a part of that community. So that way you're protecting yourself for whatever is going on in the gig economy. Market Watch talked with about a dozen app-based delivery workers in at least 6 different states and contacted many more who told their stories online about how they lost their earnings in scams, hacks, or other ways. Market Watch also obtained, through the Freedom of Information Act request, nearly 300 records of complaints to the Federal Trade Commission in the past 3 years by Uber, DoorDash, Instacart, and Grubhub workers around the nation who said they lost their earnings, or in some cases, everything in their bank accounts, because they turned over personal information to people whom they thought were support representatives. 300 records of complaints. You know, I'm not gonna lie, that seems a little small. I feel like that's the only active ones at the current moment, not the ones that are actually resolved. But yeah, the FTC is actually cracking down on apps like Uber, DoorDash, Instacart, and Grubhub. They were cracking down a couple months ago, and now I think they're cracking down even more now. I'm gonna make a video on that. In addition, Market Watch reviewed hundreds of similar tales in worker forums on Reddit, in Facebook groups, and elsewhere, even as the companies say such cases are rare. They're only rare because they don't want to be exposed for the crimes that they commit. Like, the amount of times that I've received an email or a notification of, can you put in this code? Can you send us this information? And they're from DoorDash, by the way. Yes, I still get those emails because they're still trying to scam me, even though I'm deactivated. Honestly, the companies are corrupt. You can't trust them with anything. If they're not going to enforce the corporate side properly, they can't be trusted at all. Hence why the gig economy is an income bridge to what would be a long-term goal. Academics who study gig work said it's almost impossible to independently quantify the scope of the problem because companies tend to hold their data close and are loosely regulated, if at all. Loosely regulated is a very loose term in itself. Seriously, the amount of times I've had to get frustrated at DoorDash, at UberEats, at any support team because they're a bunch of failures is astounding. It's kind of a recipe for some sad experiences for workers, said Shelley Stewart, director of Future of Work Initiative at the Aspen Institute. Sad experiences, to say the least. I would say that's pretty devastating experience. Oh, I could lose literally everything by giving my information to the wrong person. The company that I'm working for is choosing to not help me. Like, the heck is that? This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. None of you pay me. There you go. Jimmy, honestly, dude, I don't know how you fell for this, to be perfectly honest with you. You should never send any information to anybody through the phone. Phishing scams are starting to get really bad, and quite honestly, expecting any gig company to help you is impossible. And the fact that we need MarketWatch, of all things, to end up helping us is ridiculous. We should not have to go to these lengths just to get the money back that was stolen from us. One can also argue that it's not really the company's responsibility to make sure your information is safe. So that's why I'm always telling you, keep your income safe. Do not fall for this, because these gig companies aren't going to help you. They never have. And like I say 1,000 times over, the gig economy is an income bridge to what would be a long-term goal. It's never the goal. Make sure that you're keeping your account safe by keeping your information to yourself. There's a lot more stories in this article. We're going to break it up into different videos, so that way they're bite-sized and quite honestly easier for me to edit. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!